Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. It has now been 1 year since the first episode of Exploring Custom Zombies dropped, and today I thought we'd look back on the journey, as well as talk about what's next for the series, because boy has it been one hell of an adventure. Let's not waste any time and hop right in, because we have a lot to talk about. Alright, the first segment of this video is simply a question of, as a console player, what are my thoughts on Custom Zombies so far? Custom Zombies has always been sort of a fleeting interest of mine since mod tools got released for Black Ops 3. I always saw the side of it where it was all tower maps, SpongeBob, The Simpsons, and Family Guy and other challenger stuff which can be fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not really replayable. But it wasn't until I heard of Water Park Zombies when it was being developed, as well as maps such as, I think it was Atonement? That's on the backlog somewhere. Then I started to take more of an interest in the custom map scene. Still, I never really looked that deep into it until I got Black Ops 3 on PC, and from there on out, I've been having a blast. Honestly, the one problem I have is that I try not to spoil myself, and as these videos take a while to record and edit alongside getting sidetracked with many other things this year, currently right now being very sidetracked with Black Ops 7, I haven't played nearly the amount of custom zombies that I'd like to. But it's still honestly astounding what people are able to put out using these mod tools. Honestly, from my limited time using them myself, they don't really seem nearly the easiest to work with. But then again, I'm not used to proper mapping tools like Radiant. I'm more experienced with things like the Far Cry map editor and Halo's Forge mode more than anything. But I had tried to use Radiant to make my own zombies map a while back, and so far it looks better than I thought my first go would look. It's nowhere near playable though, I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to scripting or coding or anything of the sort, but I did try. But yeah, I've been having an amazing experience with custom zombies so far, and a lot of these experiences are pretty high quality, honestly. I've sunk in 200 hours just playing custom zombies. Honestly, it's like a whole different game, and I really can't wait for what this journey holds for me to discover next. Now I just want to cover some of my other thoughts on various facets of the zombies maps that I think are worth talking about, such as, what are my favourite and least favourite Easter eggs so far? Right, well, had it not have been for that lockdown step, the Yuri escort step, and box RNG, I definitely say Leviathan is up there. I love a lot about that egg. The diver boss fight at the beginning is really fun and unlocks the best trading spot on the map, and I love how the ending ties the map into the actual Ultimate storyline, taking place in between Ascension and Call of the Dead. I'd also put Alien Invasion Remastered up there. It's not really a good Easter egg by any means, and I really see it as more of an extension of the setup, which is probably why I've replayed it the most out of any of the Easter eggs I've done. Basically doing it every time I play the map. I'd also put Daybreak and Rainy Death up there too. Daybreak is very short, but also very intense, and I remember Rainy Death being a lot of fun, especially the boss fight. As for least favourite, Water Park has to definitely be up there. There were some steps that I liked, but they were broken up by different challenges that took ages to complete, making it very, very tedious. And then there's a David Hasselhoff escort step, which I don't need to tell you again how much I despise that step. There's also Mori Rebirth, which is again incredibly tedious. However, Karma Resort has to take the cake as being the only Easter egg where I took one look and went, fuck that. And even when I did try it, it was so terrible of an experience, I gave up after the first 2 steps. And there are a lot of steps on that Easter egg, and that's not even including the different branching paths. Next up, what are my favourite custom wonder weapons? The L2 harpoon gun from Leviathan immediately comes to mind, especially when upgraded. That thing slaps. There's also the Raymores from Quiet Cosmos. That thing is just so fun to use, it's insane. Like the knockback and just sending yourself flying across the map, it's fucking hilarious. There's also the Puke Ray from Mori Rebirth. I don't think you need to hear me gush about this thing for another 5 minutes, so I'll just say I love everything about it. And finally there's a Pandorium from Karma Resort. I loved how powerful this thing was, but from playthroughs I've had on the map since, it seems to have been nerfed quite heavily. Either that or I'm misremembering it. Either that or I'm misremembering, thank fuck I got that out, how powerful it actually was. What are my favourite and least favourite custom zombie types? The diver from Leviathan definitely has to take the cake here. He has a range of very threatening attacks, yet isn't too much of an extreme bullet sponge to the point he isn't fun to fight. I also love the custom voice acting he has, as well as the fact that he just constantly aura farms. As for the least favourites, oh boy, I can't even begin this segment without talking about the Brute from Water Park Zombies. He's not entirely a custom boss, as he's pretty close to his Spaceland counterpart, behaviour-wise, but his attacks do so much damage is not even fair. Not to mention his gargantuan health pool, and his ability to one-shot the shield. And the fact his laser beam can sometimes hit you through walls, yay! There's also Michael Myers from the Green Run Productions Halloween Bus Depot survival map. That's a tongue twister mouthful, yeah. This guy's pretty interesting behaviour-wise, as before attacking he basically stalks you beforehand, you know, kinda like Michael Myers does. When he does attack you, however, he super sprints at ludicrous speeds. He can one-shot your shield and down you in 2 hits, which may as well be won with how fast he attacks. This guy is insanely annoying, especially on a close quarters map like this one. Funny, both of the least favourite enemies are made by Danny. Oof. And lastly, what's my favourite and least favourite custom round change music? I'm adding this one in because I know someone will bring it up if I don't. That's why I usually bring up the round change music in my videos anyway, custom zombies or not. For my favourite from year 1, it's gotta be the one from Return to Transit, Bus Depot. It's based on a cut round chain theme from Transit, and I really like the ones from this area in particular. As to my least favourite, it's gotta be Alien Invasion Remastered. Not only do I just not like it, it goes on forever, I swear! Now on to what I would say is the centerpiece of this video, recapping my ranking for every custom map I've played so far, even for certain videos outside of exploring custom zombies, like my Transit remakes video. Not all maps featured in these videos will be here though, as I'm omitting challenge maps and other one-off stuff, but let's just hop into it. For those of you unfamiliar with the ranking system, I group them into different tiers. S for amazing maps, A for great maps, B for good maps, C for mid maps, D for bad maps, E for awful maps, and F for, and I quote, fucking garbage maps. Now thankfully we don't have any maps in the F tier yet, but we do have one map in E tier, and that is Bus Depot and Diner Survival from the Green Run Productions leak. This is the first of the Green Run Productions survival maps to be ranked, and the one most true to the original in appearance. This map takes place only in the Bus Depot and Diner areas of the map, hence the name, despite the other areas of transit like the town, the tunnel, and the power station being modelled for the most part. You can't visit the other areas of the map without no clipping, which is tedious to get working on this map in particular, so you can imagine how awful it was to get these shots, but I digress. This could have at least been a decent survival map, but it has one fatal flaw that sinks it all the way down to E tier. The zombie spawns are some of the slowest I have ever seen in all my years playing zombies. This mainly becomes an issue after opening up the diner, which slows zombie spawns down to a crawl and makes you wait several minutes for the last few zombies to spawn. It does this because no matter where you are on the map, the zombies spawn in both zones, the bus depot and the diner. So say you're at the bus depot, zombies will spawn at the diner and will have to make their way out of the diner, presumably by jumping this fence, to then teleport to the bus depot and jump over this fence, and vice versa if you're at the diner with them spawning at this fence. And trust me, this makes the spawns way slower than it would seem, and you'll often be stuck at the quote-unquote end of the round for 15 minutes thinking there is only one zombie left, only for there to be at least 10, and having to wait ages for them to spawn in properly and kill them, one at a time, over and over again. On top of that, you also have the name requirement DRM and the fact that you can't load mods of the game either crashing or kicking you off the map. Aside from the nice aesthetics, it's all in all a pretty bad experience and pretty boring just due to those goddamn spawns alone. Next up in D tier, we have another very unfortunate transit-related map, Farm. Look, okay, back in Black Ops 2 you'd probably gravitate to Town or Nuketown Zombies as your survival maps. Farm was just there, and this still rings true in Black Ops 3. Whilst Farm does look very true to the original, it's also really dark and plays true to the original, meaning that it's slow and boring. It's literally just Farm, you get what's on the tin. Very faithful recreation, but still not a good map by any means, if you ask me. Not to sort of, like, write off the effort that must have gone into recreating this, but, you know, it's still not a great map. Next up in C tier, we've got free maps. And we'll start with Town Remastered. Thought I may as well follow up with another transit map, so I don't have to change the music. Out of all of the Workshop's Town maps, Town Remastered is both visually and layout-wise more faithful to the original, and even to some extent plays like the original, as in, the box will give you 3 war machines in a row followed by the fucking SMR. But in all seriousness, this map is just quite strange if you ask me, as whilst all of these put the map quite close to the BO2 experience, the weird weapon selection involving Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare Remastered and Black Ops 3 weapons, and the even more unconventional zombie behaviour really set this map back. If you don't know, in Town Remastered, zombie sprint. All game. Round 20? All sprinters. Fair enough. Round 10? All sprinters. Things are looking squeaky. Round 1? All sprinters. For some fucking reason. Which makes the early game even more a pain in the ass. So yeah, it's certainly an experience, I'll say that much. Ski Resort. Finally, something from the actual main Exploring Custom Zombies series. Out of all the custom maps I've played, Ski Resort is definitely one of them. It's got lots of cozy vibes, and there were some parts of the Easter egg I liked, such as the boss fight, but also some that I really didn't like the Ghost Escort step. The skiing mechanic is cool, but it can screw you over quite a bit, and generally I like the creative application of fast travel on the map, as well as things like the reindeer hellhounds and the masks. Still, I find this map to be pretty unremarkable. There's nothing really that stands out to me, so I'm happy putting this in the middle section of the tier list. Frequency is what you get when you make Alpha Omega a survival map with some of the weakest wonder weapons since Exo Zombies. Which is a massive shame, since I really like the concept of these weapons being essentially inspired from the Alpha Omega Mark II variants, but with the ray gun Mark I instead. It's a cool concept, but these wonder weapons are so ass, it's absolutely hilarious. Who remembers the headshot crawler bit? Anyone? Regardless, this is a pretty cool survival map, which I love the look of. The Alpha Omega vibes are great, and also just sort of, you know, it's very original in its own sort of way as well. Like, it's more of like a broadcast station rather than like a nuclear testing site like Alpha Omega. And even though it can be fun to play, I really can't put it any higher than this. Getting into the good maps in B tier, we have Water Park Zombies. This is the IW Zombies custom map, or at least it is for now. It's obviously got a few good things going for it. The map looks gorgeous, and flows surprisingly well for its size, and there is a lot to do all around the park. Unfortunately, the setup process can be a bit bothersome, due to the amount of doors and how goddamn expensive they are. It's almost like these expensive doors all over the place, fleecing you of all your money, is a window into the map creator's soul. The wonder weapons are basically just Spaceland zappers, but somehow even better. The Discord can clear entire rounds with just a shot or two, and the others have seen some buffs as well. The face melter is actually good now. However, the soundscape has a tendency to get very annoying, you know, circus of value, and all that jazz. And the special enemies are some of the worst I've ever had the displeasure of playing against. Especially the Spaceland Brute on steroids that calls this map its domain and you'll face its stomping ground. And the 4 zappers, the main wonder weapons I was just talking about, are locked behind completing 90% of the Easter egg. Yeah, this map can be very annoying. Can also be very fun though. There's also a night version for those of you who want a small change of scenery that sort of rings back to the original zombies in Spaceland that this draws so much inspiration from. And damn does it still look gorgeous no matter what time of day it is. The Infinite Warfare Zombies vibes are just amazing on this map, all things considered. Anyway, that's enough gushing about Water Park, on to the next map. Bus Depot Halloween. Well, time to start playing Love Song for a Dead Man again. If you weren't sick of hearing this before, you definitely will be after this video. Compared to the other Green Run Productions survival maps, the Halloween variant features just the bus depot. You can't actually visit any of the other areas that Transit usually offers, such as the diner, the power station, the tunnel, and the town, even though, like all the Green Run Productions maps, they actually are on the map. This actually leads to more fast-paced gameplay compared to the other maps though, as the playable area is very small and the spawns are much faster, as the zombies can't spawn at the diner. It has a strong selection of Cold War weapons, perfect for taking out the Jigsaw and Michael Myers bosses. Personally, I really like the, is it the MG82? MG81? The melee, that's pretty good, and the HK21 as well, I do like that. And the pumpkin gun is cool when it wants to work. You can also get this weapon by doing a small Easter egg involving some challenges from Jigsaw. They're pretty easy, but the bus depot lockdown can get a little squeaky. This map isn't easy by any means, but it can be pretty fun. And of course, it looks absolutely amazing, just like its sister maps. The only thing I don't like is the fact that the Michael Myers boss is a bit too powerful with the super sprints and being able to shred you in a second, even with Jug, as well as the usual name DRM and the ability to run mods. All in all, good little mini survival map. Return to Transit Bus Depot. Sticking with Transit maps and Bus Depot, another map I played in my Transit remakes video was Verco's Bus Depot from the Return to Transit project. Visually, this map looks amazing, and is a very unique take on the classic Transit location. It features, of all things, Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, and Vanguard weapons. Not a bad selection by any means, but I still think it's quite a strange one. I do like the way they did the rounds on this one, and how every few rounds you can pause to explore or do whatever. Not really useful on this map, but likely will be when the full thing comes out, whenever that is. I also just love the feel of this map, especially with the round change music I previously mentioned, and it's also not nearly as easy as it looks. Maybe it's just a skill issue, right? But this map tends to give me hell a lot of the time. Still pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to playing the other areas of survival maps. I know they have actually been released. There's Diner and Tunnel. I look forward to playing those when I can get around to it. Return to Bus Depot. Still sticking with Transit maps and Bus Depot, we have a map with a very similar name to the last, but looks more like the Transit we've all come to expect. This is essentially a revamped version of the Bus Depot survival from Black Ops 2 that we've all come to know and not so much love, except now with perks and a pack-a-punch that can be unlocked by teleporting to town. Also, again, a rather strange selection of weapons, as we have Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare Remastered, and Black Ops 2 guns, and probably some more, I don't know, it's been a while. I'm not really a fan of the whole free Wunderwaffe thing, especially since it's required to open up Pack-a-Punch. It kinda sorta limits the weapons that you can pick, because you can only really have one weapon because you're gonna go get the Wonder Waffle anyway. It's still a pretty fun survival map that can be spiced up with mods such as Reaper's Perk mod, for instance. It also looks pretty good, being the good old Transit Bus Depot with an extra bit of colour added in because yes. Fort Rapture. Look, I know that this is a starting room challenge map, and I was excluding challenge maps off the list, but this map actually has a lot going for it despite its simple nature, so I'm chucking it in. Also, it was part of an actual Exploring Custom Zombies episode, so I think it'd be rude not to. On the surface, Fort Rapture looks like a simple starting room survival map made for a mapping contest or something, but underneath, it has some of the most unique things you could never expect to find in a humble challenge map. Let's firstly start with Pyjama, one of the main utilities of the map. It's essentially a one-stop shop for all you may need, you name it. Perks, Pack-a-Punch, and random weapons can all be bought here, although the mystery box is also available. Alongside various barbed wire defenses you can set up around the map, you also have a custom upgradable Kraken Wonder Weapon, giving Voyage of Despair's Wonder Weapon 3 brand new ways to blast away the undead, with There was the Leviathan, the Curve Shot, and there was another one I can't remember its name off the top of my head. But I remember that the one I can't name wasn't very good anyway, so it's best I don't remember it. Fort Rapture overall is a simple yet solid starting room map with a surprising amount to offer. Ve Victis. Out of all of the maps I've seen on Black Ops 3's Steam Workshop, this map is by far the most ambitious, and it isn't even close. A recreation of Cold War's Outbreak mode set in the Dark Ether is no easy feat, and they somehow managed to pull it off despite the game's engine definitely not being built for this. Ve Victis takes place on a gargantuan map filled with classic Ether locations sucked into the Dark Ether after the events of Tag der Toten, such as Area 51 from Moon, various locations from Transit, Nuketown, Nacht der Toten, as well as nods to many other maps like Die Rise, Call of the Dead, and Gorod Krovi. Alongside this, it features a very nice suite of wonder weapons, very nice, perfect for not just surviving but also traversing the Dark Ether. You can rocket jump with a scavenger, fly with a jet gun, and slip around with a sliquifier, for instance. I also really like the Easter egg in the ending cutscene. The map's voice acting and great soundscape also get some points from me. The atmosphere of this map is absolutely phenomenal, and I also like some of the little explorable side areas you can find, although getting keys to them can be quite a bitch. Despite the map's diverse set of just about everything from weapons to locations to the enemies you'll fight, I find the map to be a little too easy and repetitive. The custom wonder weapon, which I can't remember the name of, but it is a Dark Ether Spear, is also pretty mid from my memory. I also would have loved some round-based versions of some of the areas, but I just don't know how those areas would have translated into that sort of gameplay. But after looking into it more, perhaps areas like the bus depot, Lighthouse, Nuketown, as well as the Broken Arrow base surrounding Area 51 could have been great survival maps, honestly. Overall, it can be a pretty good experience. 2 Fort. Intruder alert! A horde of zombies are in the base. Sorry, I had to make that reference. There was no way I wasn't going to. This is the iconic Team Fortress 2 map 2 Fort, ported over to Black Ops 3, and it comes with a surprising amount of attention to detail considering how different these two games are. Like, how the weapons are also ported straight from the game, for instance. It's a great homage to the classic shooter, but there are a few things I don't like. Namely how annoying the Australian weapons are to get and how they don't really seem all that worth it for the effort most of the time. I suppose it's nowhere near as annoying as getting Australian weapons in the actual Team Fortress 2, or expensive. Yeesh. As well as the fact that the blue base is inaccessible. I know it's the same layout as the red base, but it would have at least been cool to have around, and maybe could have tied into some sort of main quest. Going up into A tier, we have Town Reimagined. Well, back to playing Love Song for a Dead Man again. Last time though, I promise. This is what happens when you take the classic town from Black Ops 2, give it a facelift like you've never seen before, and then make it even better by throwing in new areas, weapons, and perks. Despite some minor changes, it plays basically just like the Black Ops 2 town players all love. It's got stunning visuals abound, and the best part is, the extra areas and stuff are entirely optional. Want a more faithful experience with no bowling alley, mule kick, or PDW 57 for instance? Just don't open up the bowling alley, it's that simple. It's a great reimagining whilst not straying from what made the original so great in the first place, and it's a perfect map for playing around with mods that add new weapons or perks. I mean, it's town, right? Everyone loves town. Nothing much more to say here. Diner. Custom Zombies finally lets us play Green Run's Diner as a survival map, and here it is recreated beautifully, with the lava and bright neon lights lighting up the sky and bringing out some stunning colours to all the Broken Arrow equipment and items strewn around the diner, giving off those Alpha Omega vibes, alongside those beautiful guns, making this an excellent reimagining of sorts of the diner we've come to know and love. Featured in this map is the Galva Knuckles, which are perfect for taking out the Avogadro. Finally, a way to counter that annoying electric prick. I mean, other maps had them as well, Frequency, for instance. But when I was writing the script, I just specified here for some reason, I don't know. God, that's past me about that. This, again, is also a great place to play around with mods such as Reaper's perk mod, and all in all, it's just a great survival map. Anyway, let's get on to the last transit map, and boy did I save the best for last. Transit Dark Ether. I honestly don't know why I like this map so much. but I call it the best of the Green Run Production survival maps by a long shot. It honestly makes me wish Danny weren't such a scamming little cock so we'd see these maps properly, but yeah, whatever, right? It features the jet gun like the other Green Run Production survival maps, as well as the all-new rocket gun and atomizer wonder weapons, which sometimes works. The map itself looks absolutely fucking gorgeous, with many different playable environments, from transit like the obvious bus depot and the diner, as well as the power station being finally playable in a fashion, alongside the town as well, all of which have been overhauled in some way or another to be in a dark ether environment with an amazing atmosphere and again, stunning visuals. Not the farm or the tunnel though. I honestly like the boss selection, as you have Megatons, Mimics, the Avogadro which you can easily take down with Galva Knuckles, as well as a giant scorpion which can be a bit BS at times, as it attacks very fast and does a lot of damage, but you know, you can also kill it quick if you have the right guns. As I said, the LMGs, MG82 and the HK21 are great, and I think the HK21 is a wall buy as well on this one, as again, it's got the same Cold War guns as a Halloween version. It also has one big pro that the other maps don't, that's the fact that you can run it with the all-around enhancement mod somehow, which allows you to bypass the whole name requirement DRM thing, as well as its rocket jumping feature you can enable, which can aid the map's flow quite considerably, especially when teleporting to the town. You can actually just rocket jump straight to the portal without needing the bus. Sure, the whole issue of spawns being slow still stands on this one, but again with the AAE mod you can sort of fix that in a fashion. Overall, a pretty damn good survival map, and one which, if you ask me, really shouldn't be as good as it is. But it is! Mori Rebirth. Or as I like to call it, Monkey Rebirth, because oh my god, there's monkeys everywhere, holy fucking shit, why there's so many monkeys. Mori Rebirth is the first example of me actually changing the ranking of a map after its episode, with me bringing it up to A tier. I initially found its mishmash of different mechanics from different maps to be unnecessary and sometimes annoying, but after playing the map some more I've come to the realization that this map does these mechanics better in this map than the maps they were introduced in, especially the Ascension Perk Thief monkeys. And I also found myself interacting with the power-up cycling monkeys from Shangri-La, and especially the plants from Zetsubo, much more than I would in their respective maps. I hardly ever interact with the Zetsubo plants, really, just because of the map they're on, as it's hard to think about them with like 600 thrashers on your ass, which this map thankfully doesn't have. The map looks absolutely phenomenal. I love the contrast between different zones so much, while still having enough similarities in the environment as to, I guess, not become too visually disconnected, I guess is the way to put it. I'm still not a fan of the monkey special rounds though. The monkey's more convenient spawn for taking power-ups is a bit of a double-edged sword, and monkeys also spawn right next to you during these rounds. And rather than waste so much more of your time gushing about the wand weapons on this map, I'll just say that I absolutely love them and move on to the next map. Die Rise Remastered. You know, I was debating on whether I put remasters of past maps in here, but you know what, I'm doing it. Even though I put things like Town Remastered, Reimagined and Diner here before, well, whatever. Anyway, I present to you the biggest glow up a remaster has seen maybe ever, unless it gets surpassed when Zealot and Dobby, this map's creators, finish their Transit remaster. And that's coming from someone who already has a soft spot for Die Rise, mind you, but now this map went from an underrated adventure to something truly great. It features some much improved gameplay thanks to the map's many side easter eggs, like being able to pack a bunch of Sliquifier to unpatch it, getting PhD Flopper, and the Golden Elevator Key, to revise mechanics like the elevator key having unlimited uses, and being able to pick up the trample steam whilst flinging yourself with it. Never mind, that got patched. Fuck's sake. I love that bug. It's also tied together with some absolutely stunning visuals. They really did this map justice when it comes to the visuals, I have to admit, as well as having new music such as the new game starting music, new round change music, and I'm pretty sure it even has a new underscore track. Anyway, that's Die Rise in A tier, a map that some may say has gotten a very lenient ranking, but it already had a soft spot for this map, and this remaster makes it so much better. Daybreak. On the flip side to Mori Rebirth, this is an example of a map getting its rank lowered since its episode. I originally put it in S tier, but now I've come to realise that whilst it is still very good, it doesn't really compare to the stuff in S tier, so I moved it down to A. Daybreak is a map featured around Transit's diner, which means it's time to play Lullaby for a Dead Man again. Nah, only kidding. Daybreak is sort of a mashup between Transit's Diner and Alpha Omega. Where have I seen that one before? In a much different way to the Diner map I talked about earlier. This is done absolutely beautifully, may I add, and it only gets better after completing the map's Easter egg, which changes the look of the map completely. God, I love when maps do that. Like Dire Eyes, this map also features the trample steam to get around to certain places that you normally couldn't, namely back into spawn to go into Pack-a-Punch. Daybreak is a great survival map packaged with a short but sweet and really challenging main quest, inspired by Dark the Totem. Call of the Dead Remastered. It's Call of the Dead Remastered. Finally. And they did a pretty damn good job of it, might I add. Visually, it's quite a considerable upgrade to the one we see in the original Black Ops, and it's a very faithful recreation as well, save for the film-making equipment strewn around the place, which I have to say is a great change that was definitely missing from the original, alongside some new side Easter eggs and quality of life changes like the infinite damage scavenger. It's a very high quality remaster of a classic zombies map. Nothing much more to say here, honestly, it's literally Call of the Dead but better. Alien Invasion Remastered. Now here's another map that passes all the charisma checks and ends up being a hell of a lot better than it should be. If there was a way I would describe Alien Invasion Remastered, it's this. On paper, it's shit. In practice, it's shit again, but it just works, alright? Alien Invasion sports some pretty unique visuals, I'll say that much. The less vibrant colour palette really works in its favour for the tone the map is going for. And for the most part, the map looks pretty damn good, save for some areas which make absolutely no sense. Like this house that's full of hedges for some reason. The wonder weapons are certainly a selection. You have the Wunderwaffe obtained during the main quest, and the head cutter obtained in a very annoying side quest, which is definitely not worth it when the head cutter is just not great in this map, I'll be totally honest with you. As a reward for the Easter egg, you do get the Ray K84 though, which is really fun to use, and whilst the Easter egg itself may just boil down to sinking money into random objects and draining your wallet, Danny, is almost like an extension of the setup process. You get a Parkaholic and the aforementioned Ray K for completing it, and the map completely changes in appearance as you drop a nuke on it. And boy does it look even better when you do that, by the way. On the subject of the setup process, the doors also drain your wallet. Must not make Danny joke. In Fallout terms, it sunk all of its points into charisma and luck, and bullshitted its way to a spot in A tier. And finally, in S tier, we have Leviathan. Moon, but underwater, and it's epic. That's how I would describe Leviathan, a very unique map taking place in an underwater facility that captures both the atmosphere and those Black Ops 1 vibes perfectly. Sure, the setup and the map itself can be a bit painful to learn, but once you get past all that, it is an absolutely stellar experience. From the basic zombies gameplay to the Easter egg, it's all just minus the Dr. Zav escort and that lockdown step, of course. Seriously, the setting, the enemy variety, the perks, the side content, and the boss fights are all just amazing, honestly, all of it! I could go on about how high quality this map is. The wonder weapons, the remastered Black Ops 1 weapons, and the aura farming diver boss enemy. But all I'll say is that I was told that this is the greatest custom map ever made. And honestly, I see it. Mob of the Dead Remastered. I mean, come on. It's Mob of the Dead for crying out loud. Why wouldn't it be an S tier? The original is an absolutely amazing experience, and this remaster adds so much more, with all new quality of life improvements such as being able to buy stamina up, complete the Easter egg solo, or get the magma gap from Blood of the Dead through side Easter eggs. It does a lot to improve Mob of the Dead's experience while still staying true to what it is, from the gameplay and the atmosphere to even the visuals staying very true to Mob of the Dead's original appearance, almost as if Treyarch remastered it themselves. I mean, I guess Blood of the Dead probably borrows a lot from that, but this is definitely the best way to experience Mob of the Dead. Karma Resort. You know, this might be one of the coolest custom zombies maps currently out there. This is a full experience based off Black Ops 2's campaign, and most importantly, the island resort from the mission Karma, hence the name. It features a mix of Black Ops 2 weapons as well as customized weapons from other titles, meant to fit in with the time period, as well as a fully custom elemental wonder weapon that's really, really cool. Topping this all off is what is to me the highlight of this map, the Weapon Mastery System. An upgrade for your weapons beyond Pack-a-Punch that gives your weapon a unique ability for that weapon, and with so many weapons to try out, you're bound to find some really fun and powerful effects. Overall, Karma Resort is a very replayable experience that I'll likely replay time and time again. Rainy Death. And on the topic of cool maps, we have this one. Rainy Death is a map that astounds me with how much custom stuff has been added to it. It feels like a whole different game, yet still feels like zombies, if that makes any sense. It features a full suite of custom weapons with custom animations for fully voiced playable characters, as well as other voiced characters in the map. The Trader Pod from Killing Floor also appears in this map as a way to spend your credits, or dosh for those Killing Floor players, on items such as a shield, extra perks, or even a wonder weapon. And as much as I like this map's plethora of wonder weapons, these have to be some of the most painful wonder weapon quests I've ever seen in my life. Its visuals are certainly something. It's not vibrant, and it's probably the most British map I've ever seen, honestly. It's literally an average day here in the UK, especially this time of year. I could look out my window right now and looks just about the same thing, you know, except it's not raining. Yet. Rainy Death is a great map with lots of things that fans of games such as Killing Floor, Destiny, and many others may recognize. Quiet Cosmos. And finally we come to a map so calm, so serene, peaceful, yet absolutely fucking unhinged in the most fun way possible. Quiet Cosmos hands you a breathtakingly beautiful map. Chuck zombies, panzers, more perks than you could shake a shitty stick at, and a huge range of wonder weapons that just tells you to go ham. Ever tried boosting through the air with a Ray Gun Mark II or a Pack-a-Punch C96 on Origins? Now try that with a Morse from Advanced Warfare, one with a 30-something round magazine that fires fully automatic at blazingly fast speeds. Quiet Cosmos is an absolute blast of a map to play with a pretty straightforward Easter egg that, yes, does change the look of the map, and honestly, it's just super fun. Is Quiet Cosmos a hard map? Not really once you get the ball rolling. Does that make it boring? Hell no! And there we have it. That's all the map rankings recapped. There's been some adjustments here and there, but now we can talk about something else, eh? What's next for exploring custom zombies? Well, as I said in the last video, Kowloon is the next map that shall be featured in the series, although be aware that I have been taking notice of map suggestions I've seen over the past year or so, doing this series on and off. Wanted was a map that was originally suggested back when I first asked about what good custom zombies maps I should play, as well as Shoot House. I haven't forgotten about those maps, episodes featuring them will be coming sometime in 2026. There's also Overload, which is a map I had suggested over when I was doing a 2-box shenanigans stream. Someone suggested that. That's probably coming this year. I hope it does. Other maps on the backlog I also want to be checking out sooner or later are maps such as Frigid, which looks to be a base in the Arctic somewhere, Area 51, which speaks for itself, as well as Isle of Cthulhu, which released recently, and is a map whose release I believe has been highly anticipated. There will also be new maps featured in 2026, whenever they release. There's Zella and Dobby's Transit Remastered, which I don't know if it will release in 2026, but I'm hoping it does. Then there's also Paradise Blues, a map heavily themed around Fallout, taking place in the New Vegas Strip from Fallout New Vegas, which I am also hoping actually gets released next year. Similarly, Zombies in Vegas will take us to the Strip in a much different light, being set as a sequel to Infinite Warfare Zombies, featuring full Infinite Warfare mechanics, as well as actually being able to play the games on the Strip and gamble and shit. It's the full Vegas experience in a Zombies map. And on top of it all, there's Machina, a map that I have found about recently. It looks absolutely insane. I cannot even put it into words how insane it looks, but it looks like it may end up being one of the all-time greats. I cannot fucking wait to play it. Alongside that though, there's more. I'll also be expanding out of just Black Ops 3 Zombies to cover other custom zombies titles such as World at War and Black Ops 1. Now, I don't know much about the modding scenes for these games, much less how to get them working, especially not World at War. I've made some progress on Black Ops 1, but I bet I'll be able to have it sorted in due time, don't worry. The first map out of this expansion will be a big episode, yet not really a custom map per se, but an expansion onto 4 existing Black Ops 1 maps. The Nova 6 Anthology will be the first foray out of Black Ops 3, featuring 4 classic Black Ops 1 maps, 5, Ascension, Shangri-La, and Moon, reforged into totally different beasts entirely. Nova 6, Project 4, Fury's Temple, and Mindshare. expect this very soon, because I am absolutely stoked to jump into this one. Some other ideas I have for custom zombies outside of just this series. I do want to look at more transit maps on the workshop in 2026, as there have been more uploaded. And there's probably a few I've missed from the original. Aside from this, I also want to play some Christmas maps, because 'tis the season and all that. On a related note to both of these, there's also the Zombies map, which I believe is completely lost in media at this point, considering how long it's been since the incident, and that's the Christmas version of the Green Run Productions Transit Survival map. Yes, there's another one. It fits into both of these categories I was just talking about, Christmas maps and transit maps. It never got leaked when the original maps, the other 3 maps, the Dark Eve for Halloween and the standard one, got leaked. But yeah, I don't know, man. I was obsessed with playing these maps for a while after recording that first Transit Remakes episode. I had so much fucking footage of these maps. Honestly, this whole video is basically just an excuse to use some of that footage as well as other footage I've just collected off of the maps. It's all just a whole big excuse to use some of this footage. Oh. But yeah, after a mammoth of a script that this was, I can finally say that's a peek into what I have in store for 2026, exploring custom zombies at the moment. Obviously, I have no doubt there'll be some surprises for all of us on the way, alright? So things may change a little bit, but I would like to thank you all for the support on this series. I know it hasn't been the most popular series here on the channel, you know, but it's by far my favourite series to do. Finding and exploring all of the fantastic maps people have cooked up. Honestly, it's a great experience. I love doing this series so much, you don't even want to know. And if you made it to the end, let me know what maps you'd like me to play in 2026. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been an absolute blast. And I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night, folks.